In many, if not all, of SIM's projects, there's a question of privacy and how privacy is treated. Can you speak to that?
Sure, and privacy is it's a major important consideration. For all of market research, and market researchers have always had standards of how to use and collect data, and I don't think it changes that much in the new applications of these data going forward. For years, direct marketers have had these databases where they've gathered information from a variety of different sources and have then used them to target mailings to different people who are more interested in different kinds of subjects or products than other groups of people. And it's been very widely accepted in the industry. And the key reason is that they don't target any one person. They are targeting groups of people and segments of people. And so what they do is they use the data in an anonymized and aggregated way to, form segments or groups of people that have similar kinds of behavior. And it ends up benefiting the consumer, actually, because if you are not a dog owner, you do not want to get any kind of things in the mail about dog food. And so I think over the years it's become very accepted. This is all done through blind matching. These companies follow all of the proper procedures for protecting the privacy of consumers, so you can never get back to an individual household. And I think that's now being applied to set-top box data and to these new uses, to the whole digital side of using data, is that as long as it's anonymized and aggregated, it's generally beneficial to consumers. And these companies are all following these procedures where it's all done through blind matching. The only other approach, basically, is if you're going to capture data that is more at an individual level for market research purposes or for sales purposes, is through opt-in. Consumers have to opt in to actually say, I'm raising my hand, I want you to send me marketing materials about X, Y, and Z. And that's done very effectively now, with targeted emails, and I think consumers are understanding that they can opt in and they can opt out of many different marketing programs, and that it's up to them. But I really think it's different from the generalized use of data in an anonymized and aggregated way, where consumers are being protected because the policies that are in place in these companies are followed very strictly.
Jane, where do you see the media landscape going in the next 5 or so years? A tough question.
the holy grail question. So, well, I would like to believe that some of the initiatives that SIM is working on and others in the industry are working on will actually come to fruition within the next 3 to 5 years. So I would hope that our Touchpoints initiative would be rolled out as a product available in the industry, that this whole notion of context planning will become accepted at agencies, and that people won't complain anymore that they don't have a way to plan across media. We will have provided them with a consumer-centric planning tool that has met the needs that all the end users are saying that they need. So I'm hopeful on the planning side that will be in place. I think on the exposure side, as I'm talking about these buckets and our cross-platform approach, that is a bit more of a challenge, but I do really feel that we will have a tool in place that will be able to measure across screens within 5 years. It may be, maybe not by 2 years, but definitely by 5 years. And I think that if the taxi initiative goes forward, that's an initiative that can take a little bit longer time to really roll out in the industry. But I think once that gets started, that can really have an impact. And I would really hope that something like that could be launched throughout the industry starting in the 4 to 5 year range. You know, it may take a year or two to just convince everyone and get everyone lined up and ready to do it, and then there's this implementation, and it's one of those initiatives that I think there's a little bit more pain in the beginning, and then once it gets started and rolled out, that people will start to see the benefits. But that's a big change in the industry. So you'll probably still see that being worked on, you know, at the 5 year mark. And then some of these other issues, I do think that we'll start to see a lot of creative uses of set-top box data over the next 3 to 5 years, and I would be very surprised if it wasn't being used in some form of audience measurement within 2 to 3 years. The back end systems at the agencies, the Donovans and the media banks and the Stratas, they're all learning how to accept and work with that data. Once they're able to do that, it can be used in buying and selling. I'm confident that the MVPDs will work out a foundational data standard, that they'll come up with a way to create better samples, and that they'll be overcome all the technical hurdles to get more data into the market. You know, it could be 2 to 3 years before all that really gets sorted out, but I think we'll really start to see a lot of creative uses. All of the addressable advertising trials that are going on with the satellite companies, I think will really push the other parts of the industry to move ahead faster as well, so that they competition is good in that arena. And I think in terms of, you know, the whole sort of ROI issue and cross-platform effectiveness, I think that the combination of all these new tools coming into the market, just innovation feeds innovation, and I think the more innovative tools that we get there, the more people think of new ways to use them. And so I think you know, a real focus, and this is really what SIM is all about, is innovation. That having a focus on innovation and continuous and improvement, continuous innovation, is just a new way of thinking in the industry, and that it has to keep on going that way, and that then we'll be able to solve some of these you know, more intractable problems of actually really being able to show that when someone puts out a messaging campaign, how it actually worked, and how their kind of their earned media, their owned media, and their paid media all worked together to have an impact in the